Brilliance Audio presents Near You by Mary Burton, performed by Melissa Moran. Dr. Ann Bailey opened the front door of her former residence on Beach Street. She had purchased the house with her late husband more than a decade ago and had spent many happy and not-so-happy years in the one-story brick rancher. 10 years ago, she could not have imagined herself living anywhere else, and now it had been a year since she had stepped foot inside. She peered into the shadowy interior, half expecting to hear her son's laughter, or smell the lingering scent of chocolate chip cookies, or see her husband's discarded work boots next to her son's sneakers. Instead, there was the hum of the refrigerator, the stale, musty air, and the dust particles dancing in unwelcome sunshine. Monthly mortgage payments, utility bills, and lawn care services now outweighed any anxieties about the past. Like it or not, it was time to clean the place out and put it on the market. Anne clicked on the foyer light, hoping it would buoy her resolve. Instead, it drew her attention to the graphite fingerprint dust marring the pale blue walls, the crumpled strand of yellow caution tape, and a discarded pair of evidence gloves. Though tempted to walk away, she could not let the ghosts, demons, or whatever stalked the house win. "Nothing ventured, nothing gained," she muttered, as she picked up the moving boxes, tape, and box of plastic garbage bags. This week's tasks were simple: clear out personal belongings worth salvaging, interview the woman who would deep clean the house, and get the place on the market. Simple tasks complicated by emotions. She assembled her first moving box and then walked into the kitchen, where the sink still contained the empty coffee cup left behind by her late husband. Anne had painted the #1 dad mug with her son several years ago, and from the moment Nate gave it to his father, it had been a favorite of Clark's. The cabinets were filled with dusty dishes that she had no desire to keep, nor did she want the pots and pans or the "family makes this house a home" sign Clark had given her on their first anniversary. A glance toward the basement door made her anxious to leave. She crossed the living room and walked slowly along the hallway lined with a collection of pictures. The images featuring Nate were easy saves. Several made her smile, and she carefully dusted the glass with her sleeve and tucked each in her box. However, the portraits that included her husband triggered a complicated blend of anger and disbelief, and were not so easy to salvage. As much as she wanted to leave these pictures behind, she settled on one image she had taken of Clark and Nate fly fishing on the Bitterroot River under a flawless autumn sky. Both were laughing, radiating pure joy as Clark helped 6-year-old Nate hold up an 8-pound trout. She did not want to remember, but Nate might one day. In Nate's room, the twin bed butted against the blue wall. The navy comforter was as smooth as the day she had made it, and the Power Ranger's pillow remained perfectly centered. On his desk stood a globe and a Lego airplane he had built. The clothes in the closet were all too small now and not worth harvesting, because boys grew like weeds. Still, she selected a few shirts associated with memories of soccer games, school pictures, and birthday parties. Next, she packed worn copies of Goodnight Moon and Where the Wild Things Are. She grabbed a soccer trophy, the 3rd-grade science fair blue ribbon, Nate's favorite fishing lures, and a small silver canister containing locks of hair from his first haircut. The next stop was her bedroom. The bed had been stripped, Clark's closet cleared, and the drawers emptied by the cops. Anne glanced in her closet and drew her fingertips along the bright floral shirts and dresses, realizing she had taken what she had really wanted 18 months ago, when she and Clark had separated. All these clothes, like the rest of this house, belonged in the past. Shoes were the same. She had no use for the heels, but she did grab a worn pair of hiking boots. Perfume bottles, earrings, bracelets, and brushes scattered across her dresser. She raised a perfume bottle to her nose, inhaling and remembering Clark. After he'd returned home from conferences in recent years, he had brought her expensive perfumes and jewelry. Looking back, she realized that these splurges were intended to satisfy his own guilt. "Anne, you're all that keeps me sane," Clark said. It was hours after she'd left, and he had tracked her to her parents' house. They stood on the front porch, several charged feet separating them.